The snow had been falling since dawn, soft and steady, like the sky was trying to hush the whole town. Christmas Eve was only hours away, and Main Street was glowing with lights, laughter, and full shopping bags. But at the far end of the street, under a flickering street lamp, one woman sat alone beside a small folding table, and not a single person had stopped for her. She didn't know it yet, but before that night was over, one quiet act of kindness would change her Christmas forever, and remind an entire town what the season truly meant. Before we begin this story, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep bringing heartfelt stories like this to life. You're watching the Soulful Stories, where kindness always finds its way home. Her name was Martha Green, a 52-year-old widow who had lived in this town her whole life. People remembered her from years ago, back when she walked with more confidence, laughed louder, and held her late husband's hand during church on Sundays. But life had a way of changing people. After her husband passed away from a sudden heart attack, Martha slowly withdrew. Grief settled into her bones. Cooking became comfort. Comfort became weight. And weight became something the world judged her for without mercy. By this Christmas, Martha was obese, tired and painfully invisible. She sat bundled in an old brown coat, hands wrapped around a paper cup of lukewarm coffee. On the table in front of her were homemade Christmas candles, small glass jars filled with wax she had melted herself, scented with cinnamon, pine, and vanilla. Each candle had a handwritten label tied with twine that read, "Handmade with love, $5. She had poured her heart into them, and her last savings. Martha wasn't trying to start a business, she was just trying to survive winter. The heating bill was overdue, the fridge was nearly empty, and Christmas morning was coming whether she was ready or not. People walked past her table all day. Some glanced and quickly looked away. Some pretended to check their phones. A few stared, then whispered, then laughed softly as they passed. By sunset, not a single candle had been sold. Martha swallowed the lump in her throat and told herself she wouldn't cry. Not here. Not where anyone could see. She kept repeating the same thought, just a little longer. Someone will come. That's when she noticed the cowboy. He stood out immediately, not because he was loud, but because he wasn't. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing worn boots, a heavy coat, and a brown cowboy hat pulled low. He moved slowly like a man who had learned patience the hard way. His name was Jack Turner. Jack wasn't from town. He owned a small ranch about 30 miles out. He came into town once a month for supplies, and once a year for Christmas gifts for his nieces. He wasn't much for crowds, but something about the lights and the snow had pulled him in that evening. As he walked down Main Street, his eyes caught the faint glow of candlelight at the far end. He slowed, then stopped. He saw Martha, not just her body, not her weight. He saw her eyes. They were tired, kind, and holding back tears. Jack walked closer. Martha straightened her back, forcing a polite smile that had been practiced too many times. "Evening," Jack said gently. "Evening," she replied. He picked up one of the candles, sniffed it, and nodded. "Smells like Christmas." Martha smiled a little wider. "I make them myself. They're real nice," he said. Silence settled between them. Martha waited for the usual ending, the candle put back, an awkward nod, footsteps fading away. Instead, Jack asked, "How much for all of them?" Martha blinked. "I'm sorry?" "All of them," he repeated, gesturing to the table. "How much?" Her heart skipped. There's 27 candles, that's fine." She quickly did the math, hands trembling. That would be $135. Jack reached into his coat, pulled out cash, and placed it gently on the table. "Keep the change." Martha stared at the money, then at him. "Sir, are you sure?" Jack smiled, soft and steady. "Yes, ma'am." Her eyes filled instantly. She tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Jack carefully gathered the candles into a cardboard box he had in his truck. Before leaving, he paused and looked back at her. "Merry Christmas, Martha," he said, reading her name from the sign she had taped to the table. "Merry Christmas," she whispered. As Jack walked away, Martha finally let the tears fall. Not loud sobs, just quiet ones that carried relief, gratitude, and something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But the story didn't end there. An hour later, as darkness fully wrapped the town, people gathered in the central square for the annual Christmas Eve tree lighting. Families held hot cocoa, children laughed, music played softly through old speakers. Then something unexpected happened. Along the steps of the courthouse, on the railings, on the benches, small Christmas candles began to appear. One by one they were lit. Cinnamon filled the air, pine mixed with snow, warm light danced across surprised faces. People whispered, "Where did these come from?" They turned and saw Jack. He moved quietly, placing each candle with care, lighting them one by one until the square glowed with warmth instead of electricity. Finally, he placed the last candle at the edge of the crowd, directly in front of Martha. He had returned for her. Jack knelt slightly and lit the candle, shielding the flame from the wind. The glow reflected in Martha's tear-filled eyes. "These are yours," he said softly. "I just wanted folks to see them shine." The crowd went silent. Then someone started clapping. Another joined, then another, until the entire square was filled with applause, not for Jack, but for Martha. People approached her. They hugged her. They told her the candles were beautiful. A woman pressed a gift card into her hand. A man offered to help fix her heater. Someone else asked if she'd make more candles next year. Martha stood there, stunned, wrapped in warmth she hadn't felt in years. Jack tipped his hat to her. "Merry Christmas," he said again. That night, Martha went home to a warm house, a full heart, and the quiet understanding that kindness had found her when she needed it most. And Jack? He drove back to his ranch under a sky full of stars, knowing he had done exactly what his mama taught him long ago. If you have more than you need, share the light. Sometimes kindness doesn't come wrapped in big speeches or grand gestures. Sometimes it comes wearing boots and a cowboy hat. Sometimes it comes when you feel invisible. And sometimes it comes right on time. May this story remind you that even the smallest light can warm the coldest night, and that one act of kindness can change a life forever.